And I realized because my body dominated my mind. My body, in that sense, had killed the inspiration. And I realized that's why I couldn't write anything else. It took me ages to get back to the point where I could pick up the thoughts, pick up the train of thought. So the religious life then is all about getting this mind-body unity. Mind is subject, body is object. Learning how to invest all these natural desires and make them spiritual. Yeah? So that you don't become greedy or lazy or lustful, but actually all these physical desires become invested with spiritual meaning and or become expressions of beauty, truth and goodness. And as I said, God then is a God of emotion, intellect and will. And emotion then is about, and also we have emotion, intellect and will. And if we grow up and become mature and complete, we become one with God, then we feel how God feels. And our natural desires to pursue beauty. With our intellect, we think and we naturally pursue truth. With our will, if it's in line with God, then a mature person, we naturally pursue goodness. So a mature and a good person, naturally their life, they pursue creating beauty and appreciating beauty. They pursue truth and they want to live a good life and create goodness. And so, as I said, this then is the fulfillment of the first blessing and become like a true teacher. As I said, whatever we think, whether we like it or not, we create and express our character by everything we think, say and do. So let's have a look at some people who've engaged in a bit of self-creation. So that story of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, if you remember, where he, created himself, except the things he did didn't appear on his face like they do in normal people, but actually they appeared in this painting. Yeah, so all the bad things he did. Then in the bottom left, you can see a person who's engaged in a bit of body sculpture. Self-creation.
Photoshop.
Sorry? What?
I said it's Photoshop, right?
It's not, no. It really... You think it's Photoshopped? No, I spent ages trying to find the most extreme example I could on Google. Maybe I should find one a little bit less extreme, a bit more believable. And then, of course, ladies, they tend to decorate their face to create a certain kind of impression. And through creating impression, elicit a certain kind of reaction in people. It's all about sort of postmodern creating oneself, and that bloke down at the bottom there, again, created himself in that way. So you're projecting a certain kind of image. So that's on the outside, but also the same on the inside. We are very much responsible for creating the kind of person that we are and that we become. Then the second blessing to multiply is the ability to create a family. So again, whether we like it or not, we form relationships with other people. And often these relationships are an expression of the kind of person that we are, a certain kind of person we associate with. And get my glasses out here, getting a bit old. Anyway, as it says there, I said this is traditional Christian teaching as well. This is Maximus the Confessor. He said the love of God and the love of men are not two loves, but aspects of the same unifying love. So in the family then is a place where we experience love. You're born as a child, a baby, and we experience the love from our parents. And as children, we naturally respond to that love. Respond to the smiles that we're given. It's just natural. Don't think about it, just naturally respond to the love that we receive from our parents and brothers and sisters. And you learn to love parents, and also we have brothers and sisters. We learn, if we do have brothers and sisters, we learn to relate to our older brothers and younger brothers and older sisters and younger sisters in a certain kind of way. And it's through the relationships that we have with our parents and our siblings, this contributes a huge amount to the way in which our character and our personality develops. Partly it's to do with our genes, but a huge amount is to do with the quality of the relationship that we have with our parents and our siblings forms the kind of person that we are, the kind of script and ideas we have running around in our head. If we feel unconditionally loved and appreciated and valued by our parents, we feel loved, we feel like our life has value, that we are worth loving and deserve to be loved. But if, on the other hand, we don't feel loved and cared about by our parents, we feel a certain coldness there, we feel a certain lack of self-esteem and self-value. Yeah? So a lot of the way we feel about ourselves comes from what we feel from our parents and also what we hear our parents saying about us. It's sort of, this ideas run around in our head for ages. And so it's this love then, that God wants us to experience His love in the family. And, it's through love then we experience the greatest joy. We experience love as a husband and wife, or parents and children, or brothers and sisters, we can experience the greatest joy. And as you know, John Chrysostom said here, when husband and wife are united in marriage, they're no longer seen as something earthly, but as the image of God himself. So the image of God isn't any single individual. The image of God in traditional Christian doctrine is the husband and wife. The husband expresses the masculinity of God, and that wife expresses the femininity of God. So husband and wife together are the image of God. Yes, no, not a man or not a woman, but united together into oneness and complementary oneness. That is the image of God. One of the most surprising things I came across once in the New Testament was this, from the letter of John. If we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. So what's the implication of that? If we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. What's the implication of that statement?
God needs us.
Yes, because without us, God is incomplete. That without us, God's love cannot be completed. That is really amazing. The almighty, infinite, all-powerful, all-knowing God who created the universe, his love cannot be complete without us. That's amazing, isn't it, really? Without an object to respond to his love. And so this then is the value of marriage then, and the value of having the family. Through having a family, we can experience God's love. And I remember my mother, anyway, often would say to me, "You'll never understand how much we worried about you, how much we've done for you, and how much we care about you, etc., 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 until you have children of your own." And it's true. We can't. So we can never understand God's love for us as a parent, God's parental love for us, until we have children of our own. Then we can, I must have driven God round the bend. Now I can understand, I must have driven my parents crazy. How do they have the patience to do all this? Yeah? And it's only then we start to, when one has children oneself, one then starts to be able to appreciate one's own parents more deeply. It's only we're having children of our own, we understand God more deeply. So if God wants us to understand and become like him, we have to have the same sort of experiences that he has had. And then we can understand his heart. Then we can understand him, and he can understand us. So he wants us to be able to experience everything that he's experienced, so that we have the capacity to be able to have this kind of deep relationship with him. So he has to put us through this kind of course, so that through this, fulfilling these three blessings, we can become like him. We can become God-like. We can have the capacity to have that kind of relationship with God. So that's why, it's sort of family business then. And so fulfill the second blessing then is about developing human relationships in the family, friendships, also about at work, society, and the community, and all sorts of relationships we have with other people. These are opportunities where we can develop our capacity to love.